Hi, I'm Reverend Paula Skiles with Unity Church of San Marcos. You know, I saw a meme recently that really moved me, and it said, if you want to hear the sound of a bird, don't buy a cage, plant a tree. And you know, I don't know about you, but that kind of really struck me that this is something I could breathe life into. And that is the title of my message today. Breathe life into that. And it's about when you and I embrace the wisdom of compassion and how it heals us. So I'm aware, like everyone else, with sheltering in place and the pandemic and everything that's been going on in our lives, that there are so many of us who at times feel like that we're not only discouraged, but we feel kind of like layer after layer of our spirits have just been sandpapered off. And it's through the numerous little things, the anxiety of being separated, the wearing the masks, all the things that are accumulating and creating this sense of a trauma to us. So I invite you to take a moment, please, and listen to a few stories of something good happening. Because with all of the news services and whatever they choose to broadcast of all kinds of harm that people do to each other or catastrophes, it's hard to believe in the idea that people are good. But I do. And so it was with delight that I share a story from CBS News that aired recently about a 6-year-old boy, Jaden, and his name is Jaden Hayes, and he's of Savannah, Georgia, and he decided to plant a tree his way. Now, at 4 years old, Jaden's father died, and then at 6, his mother died unexpectedly in her sleep. And in his own words, he said, I tried and I tried to wake her up. And of course, he couldn't. Now, you might expect that this child would be overwhelmed with grief and his spirit broken. However, just some weeks after his mother passed, Jaden told his aunt and new guardian that he was tired of seeing everyone looking so sad all the time. So he decided to enact his own plan to contradict that. And what he came up with, he decided, and he asked his aunt to help him, was to buy little toys like little rubber duckies and dinosaurs and just things that are not expensive, but people really kind of like them, especially children. And asked her to take him to Savannah, downtown, an area, place where you see people, and he began to give out these little gifts that people weren't smiling, just to see and the hope that he would have them smile. Here's a 6-year-old orphan, and all he's looking for is to help someone smile. Now, at the time of the airing of this story, Jaden had done this several times and had already reached 500 people with smiles. And he has a goal of 33,000 people. Now, without realizing it, Jaden has allowed his compassion and the wisdom of his own innate understanding to help him to heal his spirit, so that once again this child can know joy in his childhood and to experience that an ever greater sense of peace in his life. Does this mean he isn't still grieving for his mother and even his dad? No, absolutely he still grieves, but his burden is lighter, and he feels the simpleness of being a child again. It's helped him, by being compassionate, it's helped him to to thrive emotionally and survive these tragedies of being an orphan. Now, many of us have heard of the word and understand what paranoia is. But are you familiar with pronoia? So, a person suffering from paranoia feels that people or entities are conspiring against them. However, a person experiencing pronoia feels that the world around them conspires to do them good. And I think we could use a little more of that and a little less paranoia in our lives. So many of us have been conditioned to think that something horrible is going to happen whenever there's some adversity that comes up. But what if in our adversities we began to change our thinking to where we consider maybe something extraordinary is happening? Because we all know that in order for things to become better, things have to change. They don't just simply become better. So my thought is this: what if you and I can say instead, I may be sheltering in place, but my roots go deep, and my spiritual growth is not on hold. I am making progress in my life and in my hopes and in my dreams. Even though we may have to be sheltering in place, maybe we have to keep from seeing our loved ones and can't have that connection that we deeply need. But what if everything that's going on is unfolding and we are creating a greater yet to be? From that pronoic viewpoint of our world is creating good for us, a greater yet to be. So consider that for a moment. Just think of that. My life, with everything that's going on, I'm in the middle of creating a greater yet to be. What about your perceptions in that moment, and your attitudes? Did you feel a little lifting? Did you even take a deep breath as you thought about that? A greater yet to be. And did you notice a loosening of your tension that might be held in your shoulders or even in your back or in your body itself? This is your body knowledge or intelligence recognizing something good has been increased in our world, in our environment, within our own world, inner world. And it's here now. Or not something we have to wait on. That greater yet to be is simply something that is in its place, and it is happening. Humankind, your life, my life, have been irreparably altered by the pandemic and all of the effects accumulating day after day of having to be separated from everyone and everything that we love and that brings us joy. And so I keep hearing people say, I'm so glad when this pandemic is over so that we can get back to the way it was. Have you ever thought and stopped to realize that after a trauma, there is no going back to the way it was, because that world, that person that you were, and our country the way it was, doesn't exist anymore. And so we're going to need to prepare and create a greater yet to be. If you can see what I'm saying, that's what I'm asking you to breathe life into. I'm asking you to plant a tree your way and to breathe life into that which heals your spirit, that heals this world and the people in it. And so breathe life into that country that is yet to be. Breathe life into the person you are yet to be. And breathe life into those around us. So that stories like the Kellers are commonplace. Now, Sean and Carrie Keller were recently traveling on I-70 from Colorado to Missouri, relocating, and they had rented a big moving truck. Unfortunately, about 6 hours into their journey, they could hear this high-pitched whine, and it was their smoke and a burning smell. And as he pulled over on I-70, Carrie, in their rented truck, noticed that the front wheel, was about to fall off. Obviously, they couldn't go any further. So they were pulling a car they had to take and go into Salina, Kansas, and rent another truck because the rental company they had used were providing zero assistance. So the long story short is, after hours of waiting, they're in a new truck and they're faced with moving over 200 boxes plus other items into this new truck, and it's almost nighttime. They were just feeling overwhelmed. And then something wonderful happened. 2 gentlemen were driving by, noticed them on the side of the road, and decided to pull over and see if they could help. And within a moment, after understanding what was happening, one of them used his cell phone and made a call and said, "Bring everyone." And 10 minutes later, there were 7 other guys there. So that they had, Sean and Carrie had 9 individuals to help them move. And in a half hour, it was done. Carrie was moved to tears because these angels that had come and given so selflessly, she had never seen such caring and compassion and kindness and generosity ever. And Sean had this to say: "Perhaps this is just how people from Kansas are." They had reaffirmed his faith and that this event would live in his memories forever. And he said, whatever you are doing in Kansas, the way you are raising your children, caring for your community, and even strangers, please don't stop. Now, life is full of traumas for us to overcome. And for some of us, it's the seemingly impossible climb of chemo and cancer. And for others, it's been trauma from assault. Or maybe it's just been the debilitating, powerful effect of the small, little traumas, the repetitive things to our spirit that are like what we are experiencing, sheltering in place. And just having to wear a mask and not being able to connect or touch someone or give them a hug. It is debilitating, and it does create this sense of separation from those things that bring us joy and love. And it's harmful to our spirit. So trauma comes in all shapes and sizes, and its commonality is only in its ability to give us a sense of discouragement and defeatism, tempting us to quit and to give up on our dreams or anything else. And then sometimes the only thing that's needed is to have an experience, a few well-timed words of encouragement, someone who sees us and struggling, and or we can see someone else struggling. We take the time to walk alongside them and say, keep going. You can do this. You're not alone. I'd like to share a story that Mato Oyate Lila Wakan tells us of the bear story. A long time ago, the Crow Indians attacked a Cheyenne camp. A woman escaped with her baby and ran from the Crow Indians hunting her. And she ran and ran all night and all day and all night again. She began to tire and fear for her baby's life because she noticed a big grizzly following her. Being a precise killer, he followed in her exact footsteps. Step by step, he followed her. She began to cry, for she knew if the crow didn't get her, the bear would kill her and her baby. And she started to run again, all night, all day, and all night again, matching every step this big grizzly. She finally understood she could never escape him. He was right on her trail. So, holding her baby, she cried as she fell, and she begged as the grizzly approached them. Alas, the bear spoke, "Do not be afraid, Cheyenne woman. The Crow Indians will not find you or your baby. I have been following you and covering your tracks the whole time." Now this tale is a metaphor for my message. The bear is the quality of compassion that can eat you and me alive when we have unrealistic expectations, such as something that's intrinsic to most of us is if we put enough energy into something, we're going to be successful. Or if we are doing something to help someone, we're going to be able to save everyone. No, unrealistic. Tragedies happen and they do occur in life. And people go through stuff. However, compassion is the solution to help people like you and me heal from the traumas, both small and large, in order to know joy again and to be at peace and to be able to give and breathe life into love and to sharing and to living again. Now, the thing about compassion being a solution is it also helps to keep you and me from sliding into the hole of trauma's misery and defeatism. It's devastating to our spirit. Now, although he's best known for his work with police officers and first responders, retired Captain Dan Willis, author of Bulletproof Spirit, says this: "One response to this ongoing, almost daily exposure to trauma might be to say, well, we can't continue to be compassionate. We have to harden our hearts. But it's not compassion that is the danger. The real danger comes when we start to isolate ourselves, to become irritable, to deaden our hearts, to stop talking to the people around us, and even to self-medicate with alcohol or drugs." You know, there have been times when every one of us have been finding it difficult to even put one foot in front of the other and get out of bed. And that's why we need good people and encouragement around us, as well as understanding that it's that courage that we need to go forward. We receive that through the good energies of compassion and people supporting us and believing in you and me and us believing in them, because courage is something we take on, not just something intrinsic that we develop. The truth is, we're meant to take turns giving and receiving this compassion, the Christ energy of compassion. And that's how life works best. But it's about consistency. If all you do is go to the dentist one time a year and nothing else, your teeth are going to rot and fall out. You have to brush your teeth twice a day, 2 times a day, 2 minutes a day, at least, every day. So what does brushing your teeth on a day, like today, 2 times a day for 2 minutes do? Not much. It's the consistency. It's the daily practice accumulating. Any one act of compassion by itself is benign, but with repetitive acts of compassion, whether small or great, you and I, we move towards wholeness in the healing of our spirits. Ernest Holmes said, "Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer." Now that's a very pronoid statement. Let it start right here. You, me, with us right now, preparing to have that vibrant mind, body, and spirit and heart to receive the best life has to offer, to plant a tree your way, to plant a tree my way, with a commitment to breathe life into that which heals our spirits. God bless you. If it feels comfortable, I encourage you to close your eyes as we close our service today in prayer. Thank you, Spirit, that in this prayer and this daily blessing that I'm able to experience, every aspect of my being responds, releasing and letting go of limitations or habits that are blocking any flow of good, attuning to your inspiration for that which I'm meant to do in order to help others heal, to direct my time and my energies and my efforts, whether in prayer or in going out and helping someone to pack or to move or to do whatever is needed. I'm thankful and grateful, precious Spirit, for your intelligence that moves and guides all of the processes of my life, helping me to attune to all that I can do, live, and be, so that your divine life, energy, harmony, moves into every cell of my being, every aspect of my mind, my heart, and my spirit. And from John 1:4, in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. God bless you.